Hey y'all, it's Rachel. Welcome back to another episode of In Her Season. Today it's just me. My partner in crime is in Paducah. Obviously, we don't live next to each other anymore, so sometimes we're interchanging solo episodes. I miss her, but we are doing the best we can. Okay, let's just jump right into it. My SD card has like 30 minutes on it for me to get an episode out, and I'm actually feeling really excited about this. I don't know what drugs I took this morning, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling ready to like tackle the day. And this is like far and few sometimes now because obviously I'm pregnant. I'm 30 weeks pregnant. I've got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and you guys have heard it all before, but it is exhausting, especially while growing a baby. It's the heat of summer, and my like energy can literally spike up and down so fast. So every day just feels so different, but today the coffee is hitting. That's the drug I took this morning. In case you need a reminder, coffee is a drug. The best one probably out there, but anyways, so okay, today I wanted to kind of like go over things in my personal life that I've noticed have changed over my 20s, as well as like kind of talking about a relationship as well. So like my personal feelings, but then also what it's like being in a relationship with expecting our third kid and not having been married that long, and kind of the evolution of I think what I've picked up and like what we've picked up over these wild 3 years. Okay, let's begin. So in October, I am turning 30. Liv is already 30 and she's looking fine and fabulous. And so I think it's just so fun to have this like new era and like getting to do everything with girls that are like in this stage together, becoming, you know, whether you're becoming a mama or not, but like just, I think something about 30 is so big, but I think society has like started to change the way we look at it and thinking like, wait, guys, these are the best years of our life. Okay. Like it's only just begun. Your 30s are not the end. They're the beginning. Your 20s, you're trying to figure out so much. Like I never want to relive my 20s ever again. I am so excited to turn 30 and just have this whole new chapter. It's like you finally have the finances to do what you want. You finally are kind of like settling into a routine of like, you know what, this is kind of what I value now. And to be honest, I never really fully believed it when they said your brain wasn't fully developed in your 20s, but now I'm like, whoa, early 20s versus late 20s, very different. So I do think you guys, 30s are going to be fantastic. I think it's only just going to keep getting better from there. But okay, so let's jump into like some things that I've noticed about myself that have changed that I didn't think ever would. And the first one is color. I am like a minimalist galley. Like my house has been painted like a really nice warm white, like the interior, I mean, and usually I'm all into like neutral tones and like really earthy tones that just feel serene and refreshing and breathable and organic. And I'm still really into that. But what I'm noticing now that I own a house is that I'm kind of like thriving for color. I'm thriving for personality. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like, you know what, we can do whatever we want because we own a house now, or if it's that I'm genuinely into color now. But I think there's something about me now that's kind of just itching for something that has personality and is kind of unique and different, but tasteful in the same manner. So like I'm like randomly painting walls in my house. Like when I feel like it, I'm just like, you know what, we're just going to paint this. It's just paint. We can always paint it back. Do it yourself. You'll save a lot of money. $40 for a gallon of paint. No big deal, right? And now I'm just like wanting to do everything and have every room be like its own little design and be like its own like personality and niche. And I just never ever thought that I would be into that. I still very much so am into kind of this like Scandinavian design where again, it's still very earthy and like organic looking, but I'm also loving a little bit of color. Okay. I had the color terracotta stuck in my mind for literally a week and I was like, I need to paint this wall terracotta in my house. So I did it. Do I love it? I don't know. I don't know if I love it, but we did it. And that's what matters, is that we just did it and we tried it. And again, you can literally paint over it. It's paint. I also have this idea that when you are growing up and you're a kid, there's parts of your parents' house that are just so symbolic of your childhood. If your parents still have your childhood home, there's parts of it that are just so like nostalgic and just remind you of like, no, that was my home. That's like what I grew up in. It was just normal. And it could be like random little things that like this crazy Persian rug, or like maybe this like picture that was hanging in the hallway, or who knows, like maybe the color of your kitchen, like maybe it was this like crazy blue. I don't know. But there's like so many little things that I think are so fun to have kind of kids grow up with and have these very distinct memories and taste of that was my childhood. And that's kind of like what I want to build my house around, is those little moments of like, oh, this is home. This feels like home. And again, like do it in like a tasteful way. I don't want my house to look like a clown house. It's just like the idea of having it be unique and just home to our family. So yeah, I don't know. It just makes me like laugh to think about it. Just how much that's changed, because usually I was just like white everything, like white and black and brown and all that. Okay. The next thing is my house is clean. But during the day, it does kind of look like a tornado has ran through it. And I am someone that needs things in my environment to be very organized and very put away and together and aesthetic. And you've heard Liv and I kind of talk a little bit about this, where we did this personality test. I forgot what it was called, but it was like a few episodes ago. And it was this woman that basically created this like table of how we value certain things in our life, and none of it's good or bad. It was just very eye-opening to see what we each valued, and it was very like specific in ways that I had never seen any other personality test do this. And mine came out first was like aesthetics and like the way things look. And it's not in a vain manner. I want to like clarify that, because I've like thought about it a lot. And the way they explain it was like, it's not in a vain manner. It's just you really value the way something looks. And it's so funny because growing up, I literally remember, this is going to sound so bad, but my mood would change with like what my mom was wearing. And I know that sounds absolutely terrible, and that does sound vain, but my mood would change with the way people like close to me would dress. And I never understood. I just thought, like growing up, I just thought, okay, like that's a me problem. Like I need to get over that. And I have, obviously, like it's not like I'm judging you for what you're wearing. But I also noticed it with the house that I grew up in. And when things were messy and out of order, I just didn't feel good. I felt very frantic. I felt very frustrated and angry, like really angry. And I couldn't get past it. Like I didn't want anyone to come to our house, and I wanted it to be spotless. I wanted the house to be organized and presentable. And that's always been a theme of mine, is like having my space be organized and aesthetically pleasing, and things need to flow and have just like a good energy about them. And that's still very, very much so the case. However, having kids now, I've noticed that in order for me to clean up a mess, I quite literally have to have them making another mess somewhere else, so I can have the time in my day to clean the kitchen or do something else. Like if I have them eating so I can clean the kitchen, well, guess what? They're making a mess with their food, and then all the food's all over the ground. Now it's all over the table. And then one of them spilled something, and one of them has 10 forks that they're trying to eat their food with. And I've noticed that during the day, it's impossible to actually keep up fully with keeping the house spotless. It's not going to happen unless you're just crazy psycho. And I have little kids that need my attention. And so I've noticed I've had to let go a lot of the way the house looks throughout the day and like every minute of the day. And I think this is like healing, and I think it's good for me. However, at the end of the night, the house will be clean and I am not waking up to a mess in the morning. I've also noticed like little ways to help with this, to like limit the mess. And that's honestly to just not have as many toys available. Child locks on all the cabinets and drawers, because we have kids that want to open every single drawer and will take out a nice container of paint and just throw it all over the floor, and take your pill bottles and throw the pills all over the floor and open them. And pills, I mean like supplements. Okay. And just take pots and pans out. And so I've learned like, okay, well, we can limit this. It's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be stuff out during the day. And I just have to be okay with that. And I think a big part of it was also I was just so worried about how people would judge me coming to my home, because that's what I felt growing up. I was like embarrassed if my house wasn't presentable the way that I felt it needed to be, even though it was my parents' house. And so I just like projected that onto myself and felt like concern about when people were coming over. But there's this saying, and sometimes I run through it in my head, and it's that if you're coming to see me, you can come by anytime you want. But if you're coming to see the house, then you're going to need to make an appointment. And I think that's just so like, that's just such a great phrase, because it's so true. If you have people around you that are judging you for the way your house looks, unless there's like an actual problem where it's like, hey, like, are you doing okay? Because I don't know, I think your environment is a representation of like what goes on in your head. I've heard this before too. Like, depending how messy your home is also like the level of organization of your thoughts in your mind, which is really interesting. But if people are going to come over and judge your space when you're raising a family, this and that, then those are probably people that shouldn't be coming over to begin with. But anyways, so that is like another thing that I've noticed I've had to like really take a step back on, is just expecting and thinking that the house is going to be pristine and perfect at all hours of the day. It's not. But at the end of the day, you know it will be. Okay. The next thing that I've noticed is that at a time in my life where it is the most chaotic and where I feel like I have the least amount of time for myself, hanging out with other females who are doing something with their lives and like doing something has been truly inspiring, and an energy that I've noticed has been reviving in my day-to-day life. And some are moms and some are not. The ones that are moms, I find I can connect a bit more with, because it's like, okay, like you've got children, like you've got other responsibilities in a way that we both understand, and yet you're still doing X, Y, and Z for yourself. And I just have noticed I feed off that energy, even if it's like not for me personally, where I'm like in a position to start building something for myself yet. But it's just being around that mindset of people that are going to help lift you up, because that's the energy you're surrounding yourself with. I have a friend who's like a hairstylist and she's still a mom, a photographer and she's still a mom. Liv, who's literally doing a bunch of different things with her business, who's about to become a mom. Like, there's a handful of girlies in my life. I've got one that's like a nurse and she's still a mom. And it's really great to be humble in that manner of, there's no jealousy. There's absolutely zero resentment. I just love being around other women that are doing something for themselves, and being around that energy and feeling that type of motivation and having that kind of encouragement. And it's it's just good for your soul. Like, I want to be surrounded by people that are really gonna do something and not just stay stagnant, because at times where I am stagnant, or at times where it's like I don't feel I have the energy to do much more than just my daily routine, I like being surrounded by people that are understanding of like, we get it, like we're moms too, like we understand where you're coming from, but then also who are really excited for you when you can break away from that a little bit and start doing your own thing. It's really great to find friends that cheer you on for your highlights and not just who are there for the lowlights of your life. So yeah, I love surrounding myself with girlies that are doing shit. The next and last one for like my personal life that I thought was interesting or just like worth sharing was that I am not a lazy individual, but my priorities have definitely changed. And with where I place my value in this world, it's been very, very challenging to remind myself that I am doing something. I am literally raising humans and growing a human. And that deserves credit, and that deserves like attention, and for you to feel proud about, and that my value is not just based on, you know, the amount of money I'm making or like what I'm building outside of that. And I know that probably like, I hope that's not confusing with like what I just said about like other girlies building stuff, because I like love that. It was just more of a realization that I have different priorities right now based on what my life is right now, and that's okay. But it's taken a long time, and I'm still working through it to like accept that. And I've also noticed that not everyone is going to understand it. And that's okay too. But like, my priorities are to make sure my babies are fed and healthy, that my relationship is thriving, and that I'm fed and healthy. Like, it is truly my family vessel that is my priority, and also my mental health. And that if I cancel on plans or if I can't make it, I want to be surrounded by people that understand that it's not personal and that it's just life. Like, it's ride or die when you have a family, and your family always, in my opinion, always comes first in your relationship. So it's been really interesting to have my priorities change from like, what do I want to do and just myself, to what does my family, like what do I need and my family, like what do we all need right now in this moment? Because it's really like you guys against the world. Okay. All right. Next, relationships. Okay. We've talking a lot about relationships here, but recently my social media feed has been filled with like relationship advice and what makes a relationship last, and all these little tidbits and like advice columns of what is going to make your relationship last, and like what's the defining factor of if you divorce or not. And I always love listening to them and seeing if there's like a common theme, or if it's something that we've already implemented in our relation, like my husband and I's relationship, or if it's something that we could implement into our relationship. So I have listened to a lot of Dr. John Deloney, and he's got like this talk show where people call in, and he like offers advice and like basically on-call therapy for these individuals and their specific situations. And I've taken a lot of what he said to try and implement it into my own relationship so that we can keep a relationship as healthy and lasting as possible. And something that I've taken away is that when you have like life events, like going from boyfriend, girlfriend, to suddenly you're married, to, okay, you have a kid now, or someone's passed away, like you are going through all these evolutions of your relationship. It is not the same relationship from where you started to where you are now to where you're going to be in 5 years. It is not the same relationship. It's a different evolution of your relationship. And I think that is truly a spectacular way of describing what relationships are. And I think that it's truly helped to remember that, oh yeah, like of course it's going to be different. Like you're going through these life changes. It's going to require different parts of you and different attention and parts of yourself and your partner that you haven't yet experienced, because again, it's a different evolution of it. And so Luke and I, our anniversary is technically August 18th. That's when we had our little courthouse seal the deal. And we got married in 2023. So it'll be 3 years. It feels so much longer than 3 years. Okay. That's insane. It'll be 3 years that we've officially been married this August. And we've had 4 evolutions of our relationship. There was the long distance. There is our first baby girl. Then there was our baby boy. And now there's going to be baby boy or girl. We don't know. That's a lot to go through in a matter of like 4 years and 3 years married. And every single time it's required something new of us and like a different version. We're still ourselves, but it's required a different version of ourselves to also have to like familiarize ourselves with because we're about to be parents of 3. Like I'm still processing this as I'm like literally speaking to you guys about it. And it's really important to hold space for yourself and your partner to learn the new dynamics of your relationship. Like, is that not crazy, you guys? Like, you think that like, okay, you're going to marry the person. You think you know the person. You do, obviously, to an extent. But then life throws life at you, good and bad. And suddenly you're going to change. Like, you're going to change. You're going to get older. You're going to go through traumas. You're going to go through accomplishments, and either you're going to be with them and you're going to like have to recalibrate your relationship as you move forward, or you're just going to, I think, like fade away, right? Like it's either you want to be with this person and you're going to make it work and you're going to evolve with them, or you're going to lose them. So that has been like a really, really just eye-opening aspect of relationships that I've recently learned about, and I wanted to share. The next thing that I found that has helped our relationship still feel so beautiful and so good is front porch sits. Okay, this sounds so silly, but I'm obsessed with sitting on the front porch at the end of a night. The kids are down. And just sitting with my mans, watching the cars go by, stalking neighbors, just sitting and observing and seeing what the neighborhood's doing. It's just a time where we get to like have to ourselves and just catch up, and just whatever comes to our mind, we just talk about it. And sometimes it's a lot of talking, and sometimes it's just like little things here and there. But there's always like something to share. There's always like little conversations. And Luke and I are both really good. I used to blame him for this, but like I've noticed that I actually am doing it too. And sometimes I think I say something out loud. I don't. I just say it in my head, and then I think I said it out loud and I didn't. But we sometimes like don't tell each other something until like a few days later. And sometimes he doesn't tell me until like 2 or 3 weeks later sometimes, of just like, oh yeah, so like 3 weeks ago, like I was at work. I'm like, why didn't you tell me like the day of? He's like, I don't know, I forgot. But it's just like an opportunity. It feels like, it almost feels like, okay, off script. We're here, we're chilling. What do you got to say? Like, what's the tea? Like, what do you want to talk about? And it's been really therapeutic to just have those moments at the end of the night to recalibrate our thoughts and just chat and just catch up. Literally the days go by so fast and you just catch up. The third thing that I am trying to practice, which sounds so silly, so silly. And this has also been on social media. Obviously, this is where I got it from. But eye contact with your partner. Okay? Like, until it was brought to my attention, eye contact, I just didn't even think that it was a thing that you had to pay attention to or acknowledge, or just like, it just never crossed my mind. Like, am I making eye contact with my husband? And when you become conscious and aware of how much eye contact you're making, there's times where I'm like, I can go the whole evening. We're cleaning, we're cooking, we're having dinner. And I'm like, hardly making eye contact, but we're talking. It's not like there's anything wrong. But the intimacy that eye contact brings is remarkable. And I've also listened to someone else talk about this, where it's like, when you cannot make eye contact, it's because you quite literally cannot see the inside of yourself. Like, you don't want to see yourself. There's something you're running from or you're hiding from, and you, in the most intimate way, or like the most intimacy that when you're sharing intimacy with your partner and you can't make eye contact, it's because you're running from something within yourself. Like, you cannot see yourself. You will not look into yourself. And that was really fascinating to also learn about. So something that I actually don't know if I've spoken to Luke about this, but something that I am trying to be conscious of is like the eye contact I have with my partner, because I think that's truly like, it's just such a little subtle thing, but makes such a difference in connection. Okay, we're running almost out of time. This sounds so cliche, okay? And people talk about this all the time, especially once you start a family. Remembering that you're on the same team. Until you're in the heat of the moment, where your kids are screaming, there's pressure, maybe you're hosting people, you don't think to yourself, hey, we're on the same team here. Like, let's get along right now. When you're in the moment, you snap and you yell and you demand things, and not the best version of you will come out. And that's happened to me. And this most recent moment, our daughter was sick. She was sick for she's probably still kind of recovering, to be honest. But it was a rough night. She had 105 fever. It was just over 105 actually. And Luke and I were obviously very concerned, because we didn't know if we needed to take her to the hospital or not, because it's a very high fever. And he was suggesting all these different things we can do. And I, for myself, was just like, well, we should just do X, Y, and Z. Like, to keep it simple, this and that, blah, blah. And I remember in that moment, it was late at night, and I just thought to myself, we're on the same team. Our daughter is sick. It's not a competition right now of who is going to have the better solution. He's worried about her. I'm worried about her. I need to remember to be patient and to work with him on this, because it's for our daughter. It's not about who's more right and who's more wrong. And I was really proud in the moment to have not, we weren't stressed at each other at all. We worked actually together. And I think part of it was because I remembered, and I vividly remember saying to myself, we're on the same team right now. This is about our daughter. And we made it through, and we got through the worst of it working hand in hand. There was no arguments. There was no yelling. There was no snapping at one another, but we did it together. And that was something that was really special. And I think it can be taken for granted when you're married to someone that we're just going to be together and I can act the way I want sometimes, and that's okay. It's not. It's like, maybe you can get away with it, but it's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel good for the partner on the receiving end. And so that is also something that I found is going to help, I think, a relationship thrive, is just truly remembering in the most chaotic times that you guys are on the same team, and what's the overall goal here. So anyways, that's my little 30-minute episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys come back to listen to our next episode of In Her Season. We will see you guys next time. And Liv and I, the two girls, will be back. Okay. Love y'all. Bye.